Thanks for joining us on the Hanger Podcast, Secret Life of CEOs edition. We like to talk with CEOs about everything we don't hear about, the good, the bad, the ugly. Our guest today, Lisa Munter, is the president and founder of Knitt here in the Capital Region. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're going to just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about you and your backstory.
Okay. So my backstory. So I have spent the past 15 years in the nonprofit space, volunteering my time, serving on committees. I currently am a board member on 2 local nonprofits up in Saratoga. And regardless of who I was supporting, it was always the same level of concern of where is our, next level of sponsorship going to come from. We don't have enough money, time, bandwidth to be able to find other donors that are outside of our area. And on the flip side, I know and am married to a business owner who, him and his brother are very philanthropic. They give back to the community, and they don't have a very robust record keeping system. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and if they get inundated with requests, so sometimes it would be reactionary. And I was starting to hear from other business donors that as much as they want to be philanthropic and give back, they really didn't have a lot of time to be able to keep up with the demand and really have those deep questions of, is this how we want our giving to look? So I said, okay. So I've been, helping out, volunteering for 15 years. I did Leadership Saratoga in 2016 because I said, how can I help at a higher level? My background is in teaching, and I taught for 11 years and then decided to stay home when I had both of my boys. So I am a problem solver and a solution seeker, and so I kind of took on the challenge. And after leadership, I said, you know what, there is a gap within philanthropy, and how can I bridge that gap? And that is really where Knitt kind of came about. I spent a year and a half meeting with various nonprofits and business owners, listening to their pain points, their frustrations, what would they like to work better for them. And then what I did was I took all those lists and I brought it to one of my now partners who has experience in platform building. And I said, can you take this whole entire list and can you create a platform that can, solve these issues? And he said, if you think that there's a need, I can. And so that's what we did. And we built Knitt, which is, a platform that connects nonprofits and business donors in a mindful and time efficient way.
Well, that's amazing. I like the very quick.
It's quick, and I have it down pat. Yes.
Not the first time you've been asked that question. I can tell.
No, it's not.
So, obviously your business is super, super fresh, right?
Yes.
And you guys have launched in the last year?
Just a month ago.
A month ago. Okay, so it's even...
I am a newbie. I am a newbie.
You're in the infant in regards to the business stages.
Yes.
So what has been the response so far for you, in finding this gap in your years of working in this industry? What has been the response so far from business owners?
Yeah, so I have to, full transparency, it's a lot easier to get nonprofits to sign up for the platform. Right. And I find that my biggest challenge right now is to get donors to sign up. Not so much that we are meeting with donors that are saying no, it's just that it's trying to get the awareness and saying, hey, here I am. And if you give to multiple organizations, hey, this is for you, right? Even if you're a business that has a philanthropy officer, this is about time efficiency. So if you're spending multiple hours a month, this is a warm leads connection platform that could either get you to the right relationships in a matter of minutes, or maybe you kind of need to do a retuning and you have those inner conversations within your company and say, okay, for 2023, what types of organizations do we want to support? Okay, let's pick these two different types, and then that way that's where all of our focus, time, and money will go into. And then for the other ones that we don't select, then maybe there's an option for us to explore them for the following year. So it's really but it's hard to find I'm like, I need a Knitt for Knitt. Pretty much. I'm like, I have this, and I just, I'm so proud of it because every function and feature is based off of the wants and needs of real nonprofits and business owners.
Right.
So it's not really what Lisa Munter thinks people want.
Right.
It's really
what the masses are looking at.
Exactly. And so it's just trying to get it out there in front of businesses. And I feel at this point my niche is more the mid to small size business owners that might not have a robust platform that they're already using to track their type of giving. And I do have to say, it's about awareness, right? So I know some donors are like, we don't want to look for new relationships. We have enough. And I said, but you know what? It's kind of like removing the barrier of a zip code. And it's like, how about like if you're passionate about, say, children, maybe is it of interest to you, like, what children organizations are within a 30-mile radius of my business? And you would be surprised because, there's 150 nonprofits in Saratoga County alone.
Yeah.
And then in the capital region, there's over 300. And you're just like, oh my gosh, there are all these amazing angels on earth doing amazing work that you just get goosebumps. But they just, you don't know about them.
Right.
And then when you hear about them, you're just like, oh my gosh, how can I support? And Knitt kind of helps that. It helps nonprofits find those businesses that link to their mission. And then for businesses to be able to have an awareness of who is in their backyard that they can support either monetarily, or maybe they want to volunteer and give their time or be a board member.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I think a lot of businesses, even if they're higher level, they may not actually be keeping track of that. They may just say, oh, we have a budget that we're going to put aside for these community things, but it's first come, first serve, right? So the first company that comes to them, it could be that nonprofit, right, that they've been contributing to for the last 25 years. They're like, oh, well, why wouldn't we do that? Because that's what we've always done. But is that in line with the company's values? Maybe no one has really evaluated those things.
That's exactly right. And again, you get so busy running your business that you don't always pay attention to that. So even if you have a budget, sometimes you're blowing through that budget really quickly, and you're like, oh no, like it's month 6 and we've already given away 90% of our budget.
Right.
We only have 10% for the remaining 6 months. That doesn't feel good to us because we didn't even get to support organizations that really are near and dear to our heart. Knitt allows you to be able in real time to see where you are at to keep pace. It's also a discovery where a lot of times you hear like, oh yeah, we give mostly to children, but then Knitt will let you see, wait a second, actually 80% of our donations is going towards some other initiative. Is that how we want that to look? And so it's just giving this deeper meaning conversation so that you want to be able, giving should not be transactional.
Yeah.
It's really about sustainability and the journey with one another. And you want it to feel good about your impact and what you're doing. And so Knitt allows you to put a little bit more time and thought and purpose into how that looks for you as a business.
It's great to hear about like what made you decide to build this business, right? And I think a lot of business owners usually do that, right? It's the feeling of they want to fulfill a gap, fulfillment for themselves, or they're like, hey, I just don't want anyone else telling me what to do, so I'm going to do my own thing because initially you think that's easier, but ends up not being easier. But I want to go into so we kind of have the surface level of why you went into this, but because your business is so new, and I'll be interested to have this conversation with you a year from now on how you're feeling, but how are you feeling? Like what is like keeping you up at night? What is the stress that's coming with this that you weren't expecting? And to be fair, like you've had exposure to business for a long time, so you had some inner knowledge on what maybe to expect, but what are the things that you didn't expect?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I definitely will say, being a month in, it is like an infant, right? Because you are looking at this new thing that you've created,
right,
and you're not really sure, what to do. And you're like, I hope everything I'm doing is the right thing. And we'll find out, as they get, it's like with children, you're just like, well, we'll see if they need to have therapy sessions or not, Right. And with Knitt as a platform, I'm just like, I hope that the decisions that I'm making, are the right ones. But I will say this, listen, my background, this is my first time, as an entrepreneur. But I don't get intimidated so much by that because I know enough to surround myself with people who are smarter in different industries and parts of what this business in order to make it successful. I have 2 great partners, and so that doesn't keep me up at night. But what does is that it is a subscription-based platform, and so it's only going to be as good as the people who are on that. So right now, I have a lot of nonprofits that are, they sign up every day, and so I want to be able to do my due diligence and make this what, I said it would be, and by populating it with the donors as well. It's not just a one-sided win, it really is a win-win. It's a time saver for both parties and so much more. It's really about the relationship and the connection. And it's, it's like, I call it like the ultimate like networking. It's no different than if, you and I were out at a party and you knew I needed to meet somebody or wanted to, and you're just like, oh my gosh, Lisa, like I need you to meet, so-and-so. And then you walk away and do your thing, and then it's kind of up to us to be able to nurture that relationship and see if it's going to continue. Knitt is what I'm proud about is that it is scalable to be worldwide like today. So I started it and launched it in the capital region because, I am a woman-owned business, and they always talk about the entrepreneurs and women, and I'm really proud of that. And I wanted to launch it in the place where I live, work, and play, and to be able to have the support to be like, I'm not doing this to, do something dishonest or to, for the wrong reasons. I wanted to launch it because if there's issues, I want to know. Like when there's the help desk and people have an issue, it's me on the other end, right? Because I believe in this, and I really feel like at this point there's not anything out there like this at this point, and I just want to be able to be one of the first in the space to be able to bring something really impactful in the philanthropy space. So I really think it's just right now, that's what keeps me up at night is like, oh my goodness, I have a lot of support from people who believe in this, but now I just need to be able to get the donors to, businesses who do give to organizations to say, try it. It's free. There's no barrier to entry. Just get on it, play around and see if this is actually makes a difference and this is a resourceful tool. And if not, that's okay. But, get on it and learn from it, right? Because even as a donor, it can kind of just further your purpose in who you are as a philanthropist and, giving back in your community and who needs it and how. So I would say that is, my thing is I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope I did the right thing. And it's always like a little bit of that imposter syndrome as well.
And the unknown.
It's the unknown. But I have been told by very successful business people that, Rome wasn't built in a day.
It wasn't.
And, in the very beginning, it's always scary.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm not selling a tangible good and it's a service, that sometimes that kind of takes a little bit of time before it takes off. So I'm listening to that and just being like, all right, let's just see where this goes, and just hanging on tight.
And it's been a month.
I know.
It hasn't even been that long.
I know, but
for starters, right? And even in the first year of your business.
Yeah.
And I think, we experienced that at Hanger, right? No one knows we're here because we just got here, right? It takes time for recognition, for branding, for marketing, for reputation.
Yes.
And, you have a reputation, but it's not associated with Knitt at this time, right? It's going to take time for that to be repeated, and people have the attention span of toddlers. Honestly, we have a lot going on, right? So to remember those things and people are of that mindset, right? Because you're also marketing to a couple different groups of people who
Yes.
may not see these things on a regular basis, and the ones that are, they may not be looking for it because they don't know that they need it. And I think businesses just operate as normal. Yep, we're going to do this one thing, and that's how it's going to be because that's how we've always done it. Well, you're coming in and kind of shaking up and saying, hey, listen, this could be more efficient. And oh, by the way, well, maybe this is way more in line with the vision that you guys actually have, rather than just kind of, sending checks to wherever. Let's be more intentional. So you're helping businesses and donors and nonprofits be intentional with the relationships that they're building. And I think that's, fantastic and definitely needed. But again, it's been a month. It's been 30 days.
I know. I just have this huge conviction, again, always just wanting to help. And I just hear, when you hear the stories of all these missions of these amazing nonprofits, I've said it before, it's like I wish I could be like Oprah and be like, and you get $1 million, and you get $1 million. I know. And I can't. But what I can do is I created this platform to be able for them to get in front of people that may be able to get them to that level.
Right.
And so that is what drives me, is that I feel like I have this need to be able to, help and, help out and both of them. So I just don't want to disappoint. I think that is my biggest, it always is my
That's
biggest thing.
Your kryptonite. Right?
Yes, is not wanting to disappoint. And but I'm very transparent, and this is new. It's a new way, like you said, of doing things, and maybe it's not new to people, but it's a little bit more, they have to give a little more time and pause into this. And then it's like you said, and then you're just like, oh yeah, like this is actually even easier, or it actually made us think about something that we never really thought that what we wanted to do. But I keep hearing it all the time, like I had no idea that this, law firm 40 miles away would want to give to me.
Right.
Or Knitt allows you can be a state away, like you can find each other through zip code, mileage, or anywhere. So that's why I'm so excited to just get people to,
know you exist,
to get on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that definitely is exciting. Obviously, we're excited for you and hoping to support you as much as we can. So, so you're still working on how you feel about the unknown factor, because that was actually my next question. Because I always find that fascinating. It's a very similar trait that entrepreneurs share, is that we really hate that. Yeah. Like we really I hate just not knowing, but it doesn't stop you though.
No, I mean, I am out of my comfort zone every single day, but
And how do you feel about that? Like, does that being out of your comfort zone, are you to the point now where you're thriving on it and you're like, oh my God, this is so great, even though I hate it sometimes? Or is it you're to that line where it could push you back?
I'm not at that line yet. I definitely don't let that overshadow my vision, my overall vision of why I did this. I tell myself that every day. You were led and you were called to put this out in the world. And I think for me, the unknown is definitely scary and intimidating, but I'm also open, and I'm like, what can this be? So in my mind, I don't like to put a lot of parameters of what it can be and just pigeonhole it. I want to be able to, as I'm out there and spreading awareness of, what Knitt is and what it does, I'm hoping that, somebody that hears this, or they read about it, or they hear about it, that they can see even a bigger picture than what I can see, and they can help me take it, to where it's supposed to be. So I am very open to that. I am a collaborator. I love teamwork. I think that's just back in my special education teacher days, and it takes a village, and I'm not intimidated by that at all. So I'm kind of all right, here it is. So who wants to, play in my sandbox with me and, make this something amazing?
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to think about that, and look at as many doors as possible, right? How many doors could be opened because of this opportunity you gave yourself and your partners, and who's going to come through those doors that either gives you a better idea offers that additional resource, like,
Yes.
your business might be the same for the next 5 years, or maybe it goes into a completely different direction that no one saw coming, right?
That's right. And for me, it's about transparency. And so like for the people, my clients who are on the platform currently, I have like bi-weekly newsletters that I just kind of send out because I just want them to know, like, I'm not, I'm just like, hey, like, this is what we're doing, because if they don't hear anything or they're not
Right.
seeing progress or there's not new knitted relationships, I want them to know, like, it's not like we're all out Christmas shopping right now,
Yeah.
But I am meeting with multiple people that are kind of at like another level, because I'm actually, again, going ground level is what we need to do, and we have these one-on-one meetings and they're always successful. We haven't had any no's yet, but I'm looking here again, and how do I bring Knitt to the top,
Right.
and then be able to have those people help me trickle it down,
Right.
and be my my funnels to be able to getting it out there to the masses.
Right.
So that takes time.
Yeah,
And
that takes time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the credibility, and like getting people to know who I am,
Mhm.
and understand like where my heart is and my passion, and I'm learning things every day.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's awesome. So picture yourself 5 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
10 years from now, 20 years from now. And what does that look like from a business standpoint? So that would be my first question. And
Okay.
then the second piece of that is, what is the legacy of that for you?
I do like, I always put it out there in the universe. I want my legacy to be making a difference in the philanthropic space, where it can, hundreds if not thousands of people can benefit from my tool. It is everything. If my friends, my personal life, I'm all about getting people together and making connections and just feeling the importance of being part of something. And Knitt is really that, in this big space that's full of love and really all this positivity, and I thrive on that. So 5 years from now, I would love to be able to have Knitt be scaled, like where it could even be whether it's national,
Mm-hmm.
worldwide, and partnering with bigger people than me that see the value. I think that would be my biggest takeaway and accomplishment, is if like well-established higher entities that see this and say, we got you, we
Yeah.
get you, and we're going to help you take it to here, and being part of like a bigger plan, and just listen, it's hard. It's hard on both ends, right? So nonprofits have it hard
Yeah.
because they have very important missions, and they don't have enough. The burnout rate is high, and they're always fighting for every single dollar, and the staffing and things like that. And so if they are able to have one little reprieve, and that is to be able to go from hours, weeks, months of time, and being able to just have it minutes of these impactful relationships that they can have, that's just, to me, I can go to bed like with the biggest smile on my face. And then for donors who just, again, like, there's so many amazing people in our Capital Region community. I'm always in awe at the amount of philanthropy that happens. And if that just means that I can help streamline or have these little deeper conversations, because I'm all about like the connection. I'm a very warm and fuzzy person, and I'm Italian, and I'd be like, I'll hug you at the end of this podcast.
After I feed you.
Yeah, I know. After I feed you, after you feed me, I'm gonna give you a hug. But and I just want to be like, hey, I'm here to help you. Like, this could be a really great part of your whole entire business, and it's going to make you feel good and others feel good around you, and get your employees involved, and having these really meaningful conversations. I'm always about, what is your joy? How do you connect to others and to other things? Because that is what makes us keep going and, being not stagnant. I
Right,
guess.
right. Awesome. So, any regrets? With a business, not in general.
Wow, that is a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
No, I don't have any, listen, regrets are, there's nothing good that comes from them. I think everything is a learning experience. And again, I'm new in all of this.
Yeah.
So even, are there disappointments? Yes.
Sure.
Do I have regrets? No. But I'm, you know, I think it's just, I do have support from many different people, and so that kind of keeps me going, and I just hope that I can continue to have these relationships with people that are going to be able to catapult Knitt to groups of people that will start signing up. I think that's, everyone's always like, it's a great idea, like
right,
this
right.
is so needed.
You're like, great.
Yes. And you hear that too, right? With businesses, it's like, careful of the people that say that's a great idea, because then, sometimes, it's like, oh, and then you have to pay for something. But again, it's not even like I'm getting no's. I'm just not getting
the momentum that you were hoping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no regret with that. Just a little like disappointed, like, I wonder how I could have done that differently. I always look at every situation as, how could I have done that differently?
So would you say, so to kind of like close up everything, I always ask, like, what advice would you give someone that is interested in either starting a business or, getting into the entrepreneurial space? Would that be the advice that you would give them, or do you have something else?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's not for the faint at heart, and it's definitely easier to give into the negative and the emotions and some of the self-doubt that creeps in on a daily basis. But if you have this like stirring in your heart, and if it came to you in the first place, I think that where a regret would come in is if I didn't do anything about it. I have been talking about it. I talked about it for a few years before actually deciding to like move forward with it. And my husband is super supportive. I have amazing family and friends, and they were like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just try, because, and you know what? I have more to gain than I have to lose. And I think that would have been my regret if I just like gave into the fear of just like, oh my gosh, like
it'll blow up.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think my advice is just like, in only being a month in, and hopefully a year from now, I would love to be able to come back and be like, oh my gosh, like, don't give up. It's why? What I'm not going, just keep going, persevere through those negative thoughts, and have great mentors. I think that's super important as well. Yeah. To have the right people supporting you and giving you advice. And listen, I'm also open to constructive criticism. I don't need to have any fluff at this point, because again, I'm like, I didn't need to do this, and I put a lot of my money, time, and energy into this. So give me the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to know it all, because again, it's a learning thing. How do I do this differently then? Help me, So I think that's it. And I will say, being a business owner, that the whole other end of like taxes and employee workers comp, all of that stuff, oh my goodness, that like bookkeeping, all of that stuff is a whole other thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, they don't really tell you about that.
Nope.
As you're signing up for all the
you're like, oh, I'll just do my LLC, it'll be fine.
That's a whole other, I guess ignorance is bliss, right? And you just kind of are like, all right, we're just going to go with the flow. And when you get those scary letters from like the state that you forgot to file something, you're just like, oh my gosh, oh no. So there's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think, keeping an open mind and having the right advisors, I think,
right.
You're surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you. I think that's, just a great approach. So that kind of concludes our show. I hope that you will come back on in a year. It'd be great to check in and see kind of where you're at. What are the new things that you're stressed about? Yes. And, additional advice that you want to give our listeners. So for those of you that are listening to the show, definitely tune in and follow Lisa and Knitt on social media. We'll post all those links for everyone to follow. And if you want to contact Lisa, if you're interested in learning more about her company, or a donor, or you're a nonprofit, or you're a business, we'd love for you to reach out to her, and we'll make sure that all of that information is through our socials and on the podcast as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks so much
This
for
was
coming.
wonderful. It was great talking with you today.
Yes, you too, Lisa.